We all know that having less reliance on any one particular thing is the right way to go. When you've only got one of something, the risk of losing it and that potential detrimental effect on your business, on your lifestyle, on your life in general is obviously huge. But I don't think the answer to the question is just quite as simple as yes you should or no you shouldn't. Should you have multiple income streams? Very good question, and probably a very topical question nowadays because, whenever you look on Instagram, whenever you look on YouTube, there's all your business gurus, all your financial advisors out there drumming on about the importance of multiple streams of income. But I don't think the answer to the question is just quite as simple as yes you should or no you shouldn't. I mean, look, I think we all know that having less reliance on any one particular thing is the right way to go, whether that's reliance on one particular stream of income or one particular main client in a business or whatever it may be. When you've only got one of something, the risk of losing it and that potential detrimental effect on your business, on your lifestyle, on your life in general is obviously huge. I think, we've all seen this during the COVID times when people who had jobs lost them, and when business owners who had reliance on one particular customer or, one particular geographic area or whatever it may be, when those doors are closed, it's a big wake-up call to you. Influencers have seen it on social media when they have the focus of all their attentions on one particular platform. They may be very big on Instagram, but have not quite cracked it yet on TikTok and Twitter, etc. When Meta has a bad day, Facebook's down or Instagram's down, then it's a big problem. I noticed this yesterday on WhatsApp. How many of us now are glued to WhatsApp for our, personal communications and for a lot of business communications? I see a lot of businesses out there that actually pride themselves on being a WhatsApp first or a WhatsApp only business. And I was at home yesterday, thought there was a Wi-Fi problem, realised there wasn't. Actually WhatsApp had gone down for an hour and a half. So when these problems happen, it shows you how much you need to have multiple sources of anything. So I know the question was about multiple streams of income, but for me the answer is you need to have multiple sources of everything in reliance on many things. However, you also need to concentrate on getting each source, each stream correct. So for me, the big mistake is to be running off too early and getting multiple streams of something when none of those streams are solid, when your skill set's not right, or when you haven't got a solid base, a solid foundation. If you are investing in property, for example, and you have bought your first house, and people say, well, you now need to move into crypto, you now need to move into a pension, into, renting out equipment, whatever it may be. That may be the right answer in the long term for some diversification. I think in the short term, you need to make sure you've got a stable base and a great level of knowledge in each of the particular areas that you're going into. So if you've just moved into property and you've bought your first rental property, for example, then for me, now is not the time to be forgetting about the property and moving on to something else. You need to be concentrating on building a solid base in that area. Using property as the example, I often see this where someone's bought a house, for example, they're from Leeds, and they've bought a rental property in Leeds, and then you ask them what they're doing next, and they say, I'm buying a house in Spain and I'm going to rent it out, or I'm buying something in Portsmouth or Portugal or wherever it may be. And whenever I ask them why, the answer is always about diversification, but these people don't really consider the cost implications of diversifying so far apart so early on in the game. And when they only have, say, one property in Leeds, for me, they can be having 2, 3, 5, 10, probably 20 properties in Leeds before there's any real risk of a concentration issue. So yes, you need to be diversified. Yes, you need multiple streams of income. Yes, you need multiple sources of revenue, of audience, of whatever it may be. But before you move on to stream number 2, make sure you've properly bedded in source number 1. So like I say, I know the question was about income, but you can apply it to many areas. Yes, you've got to have multiple sources, but make sure you've got the right sources and make sure that they're all solid sources before you spread yourself too thin and end up with multiple sources of nothing.